I want a camera that is fun to use. Hi guys, my name is Matti Sulanto and I'm a photographer, and in this video I'm going to share some of my thoughts on Micro Four Thirds. Recently I was part of the annual Micro Four Thirds shooters meetup on Rob Treck's channel. We talked about photography and the state of Micro Four Thirds and the future of Micro Four Thirds. But because there were 6 of us guests and then Rob, it was 7 of us altogether, so there was not that much time for individual opinions. So in this video I thought I'll expand my opinions a little bit and share what I think about Micro Four Thirds right now and what I wish it would be in the future. And as always, remember that this is only my opinion, one person's opinion, and my opinion is probably not any better than your opinion, which I hope you can share down below after hearing and watching my opinion after this video. And I definitely wish the best to every system and every format. And the more formats or more systems, the better it is for us customers, because there's more competition, and the competition tends to drive the manufacturers towards better products for us consumers. I'm gonna start with Panasonic, and right now Panasonic looks pretty solid, pretty decent. During the last year they have released a new camera and a couple of new lenses too. And in the recent interview with the DP Review, their director of imaging, Yosuke Yamane, also embraced the small form factor and compact and the need for compact Micro Four Thirds cameras and lenses. And that's all good, because I think the compact form factor is one of the definite upsides of Micro Four Thirds. The GH6 is an excellent camera, but I think it's big and heavy and expensive for Micro Four Thirds, and it's very video centric, and I don't think it attracts many photographers. I don't want to repeat myself too much. I have a video about the GH6. Please take a look. It's up here if you haven't seen it yet. And recently Panasonic went to face detect autofocus, and that was a great move, and it was about time to make that move. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna boost their sales, because Panasonic has always been making great cameras, but the autofocus has been holding them back regarding sales or market share. The autofocus for photography has not been that bad. It's been really good for 90%, at least for 90% of photo situations. But because it gets so much bad rap in reviews, people are afraid to buy Panasonic cameras because they think the autofocus is generally bad, even though the bad things are in the video autofocus. The reviews of the full-frame S5 Mark II, which is the first Panasonic to have face detect autofocus, have been really positive regarding the autofocus, at least. And that is great news again, and I'm pretty sure, very sure, that the face detect autofocus will also come to Micro Four Thirds, Panasonic Micro Four Thirds cameras, and therefore we can expect even better Micro Four Thirds Panasonic cameras in the future. Next up is OMDS or OM system, and that is a bit of a puzzle, at least to me so far, because we haven't seen any really new products from them yet. Everything has been Olympus leftovers so far, except maybe the new 90mm macro lens. It is possible that that is their first new product from scratch. Of course, it's really difficult to draw a line between OMDS and Olympus, because OMDS has Olympus legacy and tradition behind them, and they are building upon that. But I'm talking about products that were not in the pipeline when Olympus still existed, I think we can consider those products as new designs by OMDS or OM System. My good friend Peter Forsgaard, who is a brand ambassador for OMDS or OM System, tells me that OMDS feels very fresh and agile compared to Olympus, and that sounds very good to me. And OM1 certainly is a very nice camera. And again, I don't want to repeat myself too much. I'll put the link up here to my OM1 review video, so please check it out if you haven't seen it already. The new 90mm macro looks like a really nice lens for macro enthusiasts, but I think it's not very useful for other types of photography because of the slowish, moderate f3.5 maximum aperture. A faster maximum aperture like f2.8 or f2.5 or something similar would probably have made the lens bigger, but it would also add versatility and make it more usable for other types of photography too. The 90mm is also not cheap at around 1500 US, and I think you have to really be into macro big time to buy such an expensive dedicated macro lens. We also have to consider that right now OMDS or OM System is a bit of a no-name brand. We are fans, we are enthusiasts, we know the backstory, but go out on the street and ask some random people what Canon is and what OMDS is or OM System is, and see what they reply. So my opinion right now is that we still need to wait a little bit longer to see what OMDS really wants to do with their cameras and with Micro Four Thirds. And then what do I expect and wish from Micro Four Thirds in the future? I think Micro Four Thirds should concentrate on small and compact and not compete directly with bigger formats. They should try to find the customers who appreciate the small form factor and the advantages that it can offer. I think there are enough such customers. I also wish Panasonic would make the G9 Mark II or whatever it would be called an enthusiast level camera for photographers with maybe the same sensor as in the GH6 and face detect autofocus and upgraded features compared to the G9, which still is a great camera even though it's already quite an old design. I also wish Panasonic would make the ultimate camera for vloggers, because no manufacturer so far has managed to do that. Micro Four Thirds would be the perfect format for that, and Panasonic knows how to make a proper IBIS. Now they have also a proper focus, face detect autofocus, that could focus on your face all the time. Then they should leave out the viewfinder to allow a tiny size and add proper audio connectors, because there are millions and millions of vloggers and not every one of them wants to use a phone or a GoPro or another action camera for their videos. Many also hope for another Pen F style camera, and the original Pen F certainly was a good looking camera, but I was not too crazy about the JPEG first approach. The color wheel and all those JPEG controls were, to me, just some useless gimmicks, and I found no use for them. And that's why I never bought the original Pen F in the first place. However, if they made another camera that looked as good as the original Pen F, but without the JPEG gimmicks, all those useless control wheels, then I might even consider buying one for myself. But what exactly do we want from a future camera? We can wish minor things like a new menu, more buttons, less buttons, more dials, less dials, faster frame rate, more pixels, and more niche features. But cameras today already are so good that it's hard to add many more features that actually do something for us, for our photography. And I think it's really hard not to succeed with any of the current cameras. If you can't make awesome pictures or the pictures you wish on any of the current cameras, I think you need to look into a mirror. We tend to hope for more and more convenience, more efficient cameras, AI-driven autofocus, AI-driven fake blurry background, and we want easy cameras that require less and less user involvement. But I think none of those things make any camera more fun. And I have no idea what a young person coming from a phone camera wants. But I want more fun cameras. I don't need tons of new features and useless features. I want a camera that is fun to use. And I think many new cameras are very efficient, very good, but they are not that much fun. Tough competition. There are so many awesome cameras for every budget these days. For example, the new Canon R8. Full frame for less than 1500, body only, and the new Fuji X-T5, semi-pro APS-C for under 1800, and the new Canon R50 beginner APS-C for under 700. Now, I'm not saying that these cameras are the best in their class. They all have their own upsides and downsides, but they show how tough the competition is, and there are so many options to choose from in every price category. Micro Four Thirds is going to have a hard time competing with the price only. The raw materials for a camera cost the same, roughly the same, regardless of the sensor size. Research and development cost the same, regardless of the sensor size. The marketing costs the same, regardless of the sensor size. The actual sensor is the only part that is a little bit cheaper for a smaller camera or small format camera compared to bigger sensor cameras. And in the end, the sensor is a very small part of that equation if you include marketing, raw materials, research and development and all that. I hope in the future both OMDS and Panasonic can optimize Micro Four Thirds and design cameras that take advantage of the small sensor and the small form factor. And above all, I hope they can design fun cameras and attract new users too. That's all I have to share today. I probably forgot some aspects, but I trust that you will add and correct me in the comments down below, and please do that. I'd like to hear your opinion too on this. Thank you so much for watching, and if you found this video entertaining and thought-provoking, please consider buying me a cup of coffee. There's a link down below if you don't live in Finland. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.